So you're thinking about moving to North Georgia. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because this is the place where mountain views meet sweet tea moods. It's where you can kayak before lunch, hit a winery by dinner, and you can still make it home in time to watch the deer cross your driveway. But before you trade in that city traffic for tractor parades, we're gonna break down the real pros and cons of life in North Georgia. We're gonna cover the good, the bad, the quirky, and the, wait, they're building another Dollar General right down the street? There's one, I don't get it. Okay, let's dive in. Hey everybody, my name is Tim Gibson and my channel is all about North Georgia real estate. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're thinking about moving to the area or if you are considering listing your home in North Georgia, please reach out. I would be happy to help. So we've done a few pros and cons of living in North Georgia videos on the channel, but I figured it'd be time for a refresher just in case this is your first YouTube video of mine that you've seen. Just a little bit of background on me. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, which is northeast Florida, so more like South Georgia than South Florida. We had 2 seasons where I grew up in Florida, and I think pretty much all of Florida has 2 seasons. It's hot and really hot. So I moved to North Georgia in 1999, and I immediately fell in love with all of the beautiful nature, the scenery, the mountains. And even though these mountains aren't as big as you might get out west, these mountains were huge to me since I was a kid growing up in Florida. So after living in the area for 26 years, yes, I'm that old, I'm gonna give you the pros and cons of living in North Georgia. Like I mentioned, number one, first on the list is scenic beauty, outdoor living. You have the Blue Ridge Mountains, some of the most beautiful mountains, I think, anywhere. There's so many waterfalls in North Georgia, I don't even know if I've seen them all, but they're fantastic. So that's another great part about the area. If you like to be on the water, there's no shortage of places to enjoy the water in North Georgia. There's rivers everywhere, there's lakes everywhere. And if you like to hike, you can hike to your heart's content. You have the Appalachian Trail, the southern terminus of the Appalachian Trail in North Georgia, and tons of other hiking trails all over North Georgia. Pro number 2 for living in North Georgia would be lower cost of living. Now I get it, this is relative. We're not talking in absolute terms here. We're comparing cost of living to metro markets like Atlanta, places that some of my clients have come from, like Tampa, we're talking Sarasota, we're talking Miami, clients that have come from out west. Objectively, is it cheap? No, but is it cheaper than a lot of other places you can live in the country? Absolutely. For a lot of people, you get more house for your money in North Georgia, even though the prices are still a little high from COVID. Typically, property taxes are a little bit cheaper than other areas, and there are also some really good homestead exemptions for property taxes in North Georgia. If you want more info on some of the homestead exemptions that are available in some of the counties in North Georgia, just reach out and I'll be happy to share some of that info with you. So after shooting these YouTube videos and working with a lot of clients from the channel for the past couple of years, what I've found is that what most people want and what is one of the major draws of North Georgia is the slower pace of life and the small town charm that you can find here. All right, let's talk about traffic, for example. I've got some clients that are going to be closing on a home here in a few weeks. And I've joked around about some of the traffic in North Georgia, which usually includes maybe some white-tailed deer that are crossing the road, something like that. They're like, yeah, your traffic here is kind of cute. I was like, yeah, I get it. You know, Atlanta traffic is completely separate and not even included in this conversation. But if you're coming from a suburban area, like think Tampa, Florida, which has exploded in the past few years, you know, you go to a county like Lumpkin County in Dahlonega or Dawson County, Dawsonville, and you know, you got 30,000 people in those 2 counties. You know, the traffic here is nothing compared to what you'd experience in some of those bigger metropolitan areas. If I could paint the picture for you of living in North Georgia, you know, just think about front porch living. You know, you're sipping on some sweet tea in a rocking chair on your front porch, looking at the woods, waving at your neighbors when you drive past. You've got local festivals on the town squares just about every weekend when the weather's good. People who are genuinely nice and will actually help you if you need help. And combine that with being close to a major metropolitan city, Atlanta, Georgia, and being no more than about 1.5 to 2 hours away from the busiest airport in the world, which is Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport. And from Atlanta Hartsfield, if you're not familiar, you can just about get anywhere in the world from Atlanta Hartsfield International. I think that's a great draw for those of you who want to live close, but also far enough away that you don't have to deal with all the traffic and stuff in Atlanta. So number 5 on the list, we're talking about growth in North Georgia. There are a lot of towns in North Georgia that are growing. It's becoming a popular destination for a lot of people to live. Some towns are exploding, like Dawsonville, Georgia, and some towns are growing at a little bit slower pace, like Ellijay and Dahlonega. And of course, it all kind of depends on the county commissioners and the elected officials in each county to decide how they strategically want to grow without just exploding in population. The good news is you can still find whatever you want in North Georgia. If you want to be tucked away in the woods and you don't want to see anybody for days, you can find that. If you want a mixture of both, where you got some really small town living, but you can get to places with a lot of shopping and some amenities and things like that, you can find that. And if you want a little bit more of a suburban lifestyle, but still being surrounded by natural beauty, you can find that as well. Like I mentioned briefly a couple of seconds ago, proximity to Atlanta is one of the most valuable parts about North Georgia, because being close to a major metropolitan city, and Atlanta is probably top 10 or 15 in the country in terms of population. Living within an hour to 2 hours of Atlanta, Georgia, you have just about every option available to you. Concerts, sporting events, huge conferences that come through yearly. Yeah, you can experience all that Atlanta and the surrounding areas have to offer, but you still get to leave and go back to the mountains, which is my favorite part. Okay, now that we've covered the pros, let's talk about the cons of living in North Georgia. There's a few. So most of these counties in North Georgia being very rural, there are limited job opportunities, and the job market in some of these areas is pretty small. So if you have a remote job and you can work from home, then this shouldn't be a problem. But if you have some sort of job where you have to commute, then you may have to drive a while. Healthcare and education and small businesses, you should be okay in some of these areas, but just about anything outside of that, I would say you're gonna have to commute. So second on the list of cons, let's talk about infrastructure. I've mentioned this in the past, this is in my other videos, but some of these small counties don't have great infrastructure. In some places, the internet can be non-existent or spotty at best. Also, the water and sewer infrastructure in a lot of places is very limited. So if you want city water and you want city sewer, then you got to live really close to the town square in whichever place that you choose to live. So expect having a septic tank and a well in a lot of these places if you live, even 10 minutes outside of the town square. Number three, if you like to get out and about and you want kind of like some nightlife options and some stuff to do, I wouldn't expect like a major, bustling food scene in a lot of these towns. Now, there are some really great restaurants, but they're more like mom and pop meat and three type places. Like if you're a serious foodie or something like that and you want to get some really fancy food, you might be able to find that in some places, but you're probably going to want to go down closer to Atlanta if you really want like a super high-end dining experience. I like down-home cooking, so most of the restaurants in North Georgia suit me just fine, but if you want just a higher-end experience, then you can just go down the road for about 30, 45 minutes or so to someplace like Alpharetta where they got some really nice restaurants. So fourth on the list, and I've made this joke about 1,000 times, but I'm going to make it again because maybe you're seeing this for the first time. The weather in North Georgia can be wildly unpredictable, and I found a meme somewhere on the internet that says Georgia has 12 seasons, and I think it's pretty much true. As you can tell by my voice, I'm experiencing the pollening, is what we like to call it here in North Georgia. Pollen everywhere, it's covering everybody's cars, and I can't breathe. It's not horrible weather, but we do get some pretty nasty storms when the weather turns from winter to spring. Sometimes tornadoes will come through every once in a while. We get some thunderstorms. We get some pretty high humidity in the late summer. We might even get a couple of ice storms or snowstorms in the wintertime. It always keeps you on your toes, and it's always a good time. So just be prepared if you are thinking about moving to the area, just be prepared for some unpredictable weather. It's not that bad though. Fifth on the list, I just put this in there because I thought it would be funny, but there's limited public transportation, and when I say limited, I mean zero. Now, we don't have any public transportation, and we don't even really have Uber, but we do have Goober. And if you just need to get a ride down to the local liquor store or something like that, then you can get Goober to pick you up. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to need some type of car or something to get around in North Georgia, and possibly even a four-wheel drive to get up some of those steep driveways, because there's nothing flat here. Contrary to popular belief, North Georgia has mountains. All right, what do you think about this video? Leave your thoughts and comments. Tell me some of your pros and cons if you live in North Georgia or if you have visited North Georgia. As always, my number is on the screen, so if you are thinking about moving to the area or if you're considering listing your home in North Georgia, please reach out. I'll talk to you on the next video.